you have to also lead the discussion at some point. Option 2, select one of these projects. And as you heard now, there's the first 4 on this page. That's Christian's expertise. And there's another 2 pages, 3 pages. Bitcoin hacking, Tor hacking, hacking science, drone hacking. All these things. That's the stuff I come up with. And that means that I will be your mentor of the team. The other, Christian is your mentor. So we will be meeting once a week. And if you start cutting cables or launching into the ocean, I guess you meet more. To make a breakthrough to Bitcoin, then I also want to meet you more once a week. Once a week, half an hour at least, as required and our time permits. And what is actually expected of you then? Do we expect you to hack a bank or do things or cut submarine cables or hack successfully or trace everybody across the campus? Or an Android stealth app? Well, if you don't manage to get the compiler to work, maybe you didn't pass the master level thing. Rip any video. If you just take an existing open source project and you just put a little screen in front of it and an installer, maybe that's not really advancing what's out there. So for all of these projects, you are very much encouraged, even required, to see what other people have done. You don't need to crack or hack the world to get a passing grade. You need to put in some effort and show that you've done intelligent work. And how do you show that? By a report, by some software, or both. You have to do it all. Oh, and give a presentation.
I think that's an important point. So I got some question. How can we learn about all these cool projects and the outcomes of the project? What have people learned? So there are 7 weeks of literature discussions, and we have currently placed week 8 to 10 as independent project presentations. So we use these last 3 slots as feedback sessions, where the guys going for option 2 will give a, let's say, 30-40-minute presentation about the project that they did, the stuff they have learned, problems they have encountered, and how they came around them, to give you guys additional information in how to approach such a similar hack in the future. Right? It's all about sharing and creating an open atmosphere here.
Yep. Yeah, so we don't want... Do you want a 20-page report?
No.
30-page report? Okay, we don't want big reports. Maybe you don't want to write them, but actually doing just a few pages, in 4 pages, readable, that would just go, oh, that's smart. Yeah. Because we've seen this before, so you don't need to explain what hashing functions are. We also have read Wikipedia about that. And more, maybe. And in my case, yeah, maybe. So I get a headache for formulas. So you don't need to do that much, but I really like screenshots and demos that work. In the end. And what else was I going to say? What is expected? Was it expected? So if you do really nice things, but in the end you don't make it, you still get a passing grade. If you really did amazing work and you were close, but this system, like Tor, this is, people have been really working and putting their life work into this. So if you don't make it in the end, who has Silverlight installed on their computer? Do you think you can hack that? And bypass that? It's Microsoft software, so it might be trivial, and you're done for the rest of the afternoon. So this is the rip any video thing. But anyway, we'll go through that detailed list. Right, so is anybody understanding a bit who wants to know about option 2? What is required of this person? Are you a bit confident you know what you're getting into? All these weeks of excitement. Good. And quickly recap. Hopefully everybody knows now. So we are, in the meet and greet, of course, tomorrow. That's also in your document. You need to choose already Thursday. We put that early on, otherwise people just we have to move forward with the exciting part. So we give you only a limited amount of time. We regret we can't give you this earlier. Option 1 and 2, email us. I hope this is clear. Right. You heard from 4 projects from Christian. Then the next page, Bitcoin hacking. I don't have fancy slides on it. Just completed this text this weekend. Time hacking. So Bitcoin is limited to 7 transactions per second, but everybody loves it and thinks it's the future of money. And now, as a developing story that Mt. Gox, that's one of the big trading platforms. It's interesting, for a decentralized currency, actually the first cryptocurrency that is actually working after all these decades of trying, that it still relies on central server websites who got hacked and wallets who got hacked and all these things. And so what is expected of you? Trying out existing low-level Bitcoin tools and possibly reproduce in the lab existing known attacks. Yeah. So you need to play around with the protocol a bit. Who has used Wireshark here? Hey, you passed the network. So you can skip the protocol, read the specs, understand the specs. So this is a playing around a bit. And there are now actually known vulnerabilities, and now Mt. Gox is using this maybe as an excuse, or maybe it's legitimate. They just hold everything because there's a leak. That's a good stat. Let's stop this whole Bitcoin nonsense until the big bugs are fixed, and let's continue then. Very good, very good. So what it seems is that you can make a hash out of a Bitcoin transaction, which actually has some appended information, which is still distributed across the network as an open transaction. And then some of the miners might actually reject it or not, but the default software accepts it as an open transaction, while it has some extra information. So this is all very strange stuff, and there should be a fix for that, and it should be strict about what it accepts as an open transaction. So it's what I read from it this morning. It's a bit silly stuff. But that's actually grown. We read about the fork in the Bitcoin network, when there were one version of the reference implementation, the old version, which was accepting, this is the big or the small blocks, and the other one, which was rejecting the blocks. Yeah? See some nodding faces. Yeah, if you like that stuff, maybe this is your assignment. Any questions on Bitcoin? Tomorrow there's a meet and greet, and I can talk for it about an hour. Huh? So, Tor hacking. Whoever has used Tor? Naughty people.
Why would that make you naughty?
Nothing. It's interesting technology, not used by the majority of people, for some strange reason. Huh? Who finds Tor deadly slow? Hey, you watch YouTube over Tor? Why not? Yeah, I have a bit of a thing of Tor. I'm very jealous of Tor, because we actually... How long have you worked on the Tor-like protocol?
Half a year now, I guess.
Half a year. Ah. So this is our official TA in the class. And can I hijack you for 1 minute to talk about your work?
Yeah, of course. As you probably all know, Johan has been working on Tribler for the past, 15 years?
22 years? No.
And it's pretty decent program, but what would really make it special is anonymity in peer-to-peer downloading. So what we try to do is implement a Tor-like protocol enhancing the peer-to-peer network. That instead of downloading from the seeders, you create circuits like Tor does, and then use encryption, onion-like encryption, to get your data. Till now, we've been able to use the current software with 1.8 megabytes per second, so that's reasonably fast. You can watch HD over that, but that's only anonymity for the downloader, and the vision for the future is also anonymity for the uploader. So have some sort of hidden service Tor-like uploading system, which makes it possible to seed anonymously.
So they, just to finish this off a bit. So the Tor, I have some slides on this. This is the anonymous web browsing, just the standard thing. And it all goes through central servers. And you can do all sorts of fun things with that. Except it's limited in speed. So the load time of a 1 megabyte page. Here was a bit, there was a bot probably using this Tor for a few months. It's now being filtered. So Tor has 250 kilobytes, 350 kilobytes per second speed. So that's indeed deadly slow. And my life work for the past 12 years has been to improve these sort of things and mess a bit coming from the BitTorrent thing. Now it's now on mobile things. But what you can do with Tor, this is the nastiest of it all. My personal reason for not liking Tor. It's called hard candy, and this is no need to specify what that means, but this is out there, and not many people can stop this. They arrested. This is so-called Castleman affidavit. If you want to know the details, that's also in the Tor hacking thing. This is a very depressing read on one thing, but also interesting. So what would you like is a system that could fix all these, or not, depending on your stance. So there's hard candy is on there, but also the drug market. What did happen to the drug market? It went down. But is it down, or are there now 3 to replace it? Yeah, there's a few more that popped up. Nobody, not as good as or as big as this one, and this stuff actually worked. Huh? You could really buy drugs, and we already did a test. It's like 50-50. If you get a Viagra email, do you actually get Viagra? If you click on the link and you didn't get malware and you typed in your credit card, do you actually get it? Probably you can. Here, there were actually people who were this crowdsourcing, this Wikipedia that didn't have a. It also has an informal reputation system, because there's the gang, the buyer's gang. So they just go there, and all the sellers, and then they do test buying, and then they report back on the forum. So what there is there's the active, interested users who just keep it clean. Because you don't want to get ripped off on a drug site, right? This is, and how satisfied is this? What do you think? 50-50 deals? How satisfied were people with their anonymous drug site? A 4 or 5 star rating. That is actually pretty high already, huh? So there's a few disappointed people, but the majority is satisfied with this website.
Yeah, but isn't that because of the escrow?
there is an escrow. There actually people thought about how to design a proper semi-anonymous drug market. So there is indeed, if you do a buyer and a seller, it's always good to have an escrow service, indeed, for the goods. And you need to nicely wrap it so the postal service doesn't sniff it out. You need to use some foil. You need to use printed sticker, not handwritten stickers. If you do LSD, you need to soak it up into a special piece of paper so that it doesn't get traced. All these minor things you need to take care of if you're a business person. So what do you actually want? Because I want that everybody just uses safe browsing and not this NSA sort of submarines who trace you and all these things, that the default of the internet is privacy. But do you then need sites like Hard Candy or drug dealing? Or can you have the algorithm that decides between good and evil and just only the peaceful and the helpful will pass through and become anonymous? No viruses, malware, things, and no objectionable content. Not according to the Putin rules, but according to the universal sign of rights. What is proper content? Right. But what we have is the current state of the art. We don't have a generic trust system, no reputation system. And as we're working on, we don't have a system for proper anonymous streaming. Why? Now we're switching to the Delft Tor hacking in just a few slides. Can you see that in your description? All Tor traffic flows to less than 1,000 exit nodes, donated by volunteers. So how this works, if you have anonymous streaming, you would have seeders, and they have relays who relay all your traffic. If you have a proper HD stream, that's a few megabits per second. And if you then, how many YouTube users are there? Quite some millions. Yeah? And why would you be a relay? So first, if there are objectionable content, you could be liable for that. People have been picked up for Tor relay and all these things. So there's actually a strong disincentive to become a relay. So what we're working on, and this is the Delft Tor hacking that we got operational, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we worked on this stuff for a while. You can do voting, and you can do some wisdom of the crowds on what is proper piracy tools, proper content. And then you get, within a sub-second, you get your piracy or your whatever content you want without restriction. People, our users want to make anonymous, blah, 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 web of trust, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm going a bit quickly. Then the nice bit is that we have a reputation system. Who is helping out others? If you give bytes to others, you actually get a better reputation. This only works in some test code, which is not linked yet. But if you give bytes to others, they are accounted. So this is an accounting and a reputation system we're building. Nobody has ever made a distributed accounting system work, which actually scales. We have Bitcoin, which only scales to 7 transactions per second. Yes, we're going to do Bloom filters. It will scale. It will scale. No, because we don't know how to make unbounded scalable systems. You actually get a proper article out of that if you would make that problem work. Anyways, so what the researchers and the master students have worked on is that we have this now operational. We're going to release that hopefully in a few weeks. That you can do anonymous relaying, and you pick people, and you can do some proper streaming through there. So you become part of a network. So you install a BitTorrent client, but you also become part of the sort of like the Tor specs network, but it's peer-to-peer Tor. So you join, you relay traffic for others, and fully encrypted, LGMAL, IIS, all these fancy buzzwords which are in the Tor spec. So hopefully it's also secure. But there's a small problem. How fast is it now? How many megabits do we get on the?
1.8 megabytes.
1.8 megabyte. Yeah. Ah, that's good. But your mission is to take that code and to accelerate it and to get 50 megabits per second. That would be really megabit. Are we talking about here? Megabit to make to take this existing code to see the bottlenecks and all that stuff. What would happen then? This is a trial we did. That we have our software and you donate this. So this is last December, where you donate. Remember that Tor is 250 kilobyte. So already beaten Tor sort of, but we want to have it better, and we want to develop the protocol, and your team would be responsible for adding also some performance. Right, some theory here, final slide. Why is this stuff important? Because what you do is you, with high speed, you actually help others. And you build a web of trust. This only works in my mind. And a bit for PGP. We have it here a bit working in BitTorrent. So this is our deployed stuff. This is the PGP definition. So for PGP, which is this 20, 30-year-old email protocol. Who's ever used that? Ah, yeah. On a daily basis? Whoa, hardcore. Yeah, but your friends don't have PGP, yeah? Because why would your friends have PGP? The NSA listens anyways to your email. So, the web of trust of validated keys and the strong set, blah, blah, blah. 50,000 people on the whole planet have some sort of web of trust, key signing and all that stuff. Hopefully, with this unlimited streaming, stream anything you want stuff in Tribler, we'll have a bit more. The potential market is 100 million people that regularly use YouTube and BitTorrent. And so we want to make it fast and all that stuff. Okay, so this is a lot of details about these first projects. Then I have 8 minutes left or less. Hacking science. Who's ever used scholar.google.com? Right. You will then, your mission is then, this is a big one. This is actually multidisciplinary because you need to do parsing, you need to do some bibliography fuzzying, PDF obfuscation, then generation of interesting articles. And then make your own highly cited paper, just cite it with your own auto-generated technical reports. Right, yeah, it's a bit funny. So hopefully you like this stuff. Some group will like that, or 2 groups. An article generator.
I assume you want improvements over the computer science article generator from a few years ago that also got accepted into
Yes,
conference.
yeah, the MIT stuff. No, that's true. That's true. This is actually a survey paper, so it hopefully reads genuine. Yeah, but you're not supposed to submit it, the fake articles, to a workshop. Only how you did it to a workshop. Because then it's a proper article again. Anyway, who's ever worked with a drone? Yeah, so this is just some standard stuff we have. Hopefully, if 1 or 2 teams do this, that gives me also an excuse to buy a few €1,000 worth of toys. So we have one master student who has the Elastic database that's underlying Tribler, and the file transfer, the real-time streaming protocol, has that also working in another drone. This is a proper drone, flown by a proper pilot, above the Arctic Circle. That's in Norway. So he's doing his master thesis in Tromsø with 1.8 meter of snow. And so there has been some background work onto this. The GitHub link is shown there in the description. So there's also some background knowledge, so you can play a bit with that. Right, Rip in his video, we talked a bit already about Silverlight. Your mission is then to uitzending gemist, Netflix, YouTube. Hopefully it should work anywhere, just a nice installer and some proper ripping there, real-time compression. So if you do it properly, because Netflix actually tries to block this, they don't like this sort of stuff. There might be some legal issues involved here, so minor thing. We tried to shield before court case. Android Stealth app. Yeah, this is actually the real deal. So this is the reason why I do these things. So I talk to people who their friends are in jail. I talk to people who lived and worked in Egypt during the trouble a year ago. We try to help them. But first we actually need to make something work that you can have this streaming video. And then we take the next step with these anonymous systems. And one of the things is that it would also move to mobile. This is very heavy stuff. If people following the news on Syria or all these things, they really are cordoned off a city. And if you have a satellite phone, your feed will be traced, and they just send a missile to you. No questions asked. This is pretty heavy stuff. So a government who's just executing people who are using unsanctioned satellite phones or satellite upload feeds. Heavy stuff. Right. Not hardware hacking. Who ever been frustrated with their nut box? Who's ever done OpenWRT or something and reprogrammed the firmware? Ah, yeah. So if you like this sort of stuff, we have some real fire hazards here in this building. 20 of the cheapos, real-world consumer thingies, which block every connection. And if you do 63 TCP connections or a 64th, they crash the firmware, all that stuff. So it's real fun to play with. Slightly frustrating, but if you get a bit of a yield out of this, for all these multiplayer games, this is always screwing you up, that you have to program around these boxes.
Does this involve stuff like making use of the routers that have one side not enabled while UPnB?
Yeah, so UPnB doesn't get you that far, but the full code and all these things. And the symmetric nuts are very tricky, so all these detailed things.
No, but some routers have by default UPnB enabled on one side.
Yeah, then it's easy, then you're done. Just import one library and then you get some yield from that. But hope to go a bit beyond the state of the art. And there's some existing code here. Wi-Fi range extension. Also a bit of hacking, as you can see here. This is not an easy one to get right. Might look easy, there's a lot of code, but you want to get the timing and you're going to track the congestion, a bit of intelligence in here. So we expect to go beyond the state of the art here. The easy bit is easy because that's been done already. But, right, then with 2 minutes on the clock.
I think the most important thing is read through this in a quiet minute and make up your mind what you want, option 1 or option 2. And then start reading the papers if you're convinced for option 1. Submit them by Thursday. If you want to do a project, come to the gathering event tomorrow at noon. If you can't make it there, you can of course still participate and just send us your preference for which project. Also by Thursday.